I have played the Division titles on and off since their releases. While I preferred the setting of the first game being in New York, I have to say that Division 2 has evolved into a much better game overall. However, with its 4-year-old release date, it's understandable to wonder if the game is still worth playing and if there is an active player base. After all, we've all seen games like Anthem drop off quickly after their release. I mean, it's crazy to think that Anthem was released just a couple of weeks before Division 2. But I can confidently say that Division 2 is still going strong. After spending over 60 hours immersed in the game recently, I want to share my current thoughts on Division 2 in 2023. And perhaps, most importantly, to answer a question you may be asking yourself. Should you buy or jump back into Division 2 now? Join me as we explore the good, the bad, and the unfortunate ugly of Division 2. Let's start with the good side of Division 2. Let's start with potentially the most important reason you may be worried about jumping into Division 2, the player base. While Division 2 may not be as popular as it once was, I am happy to report that the game is still having an active player base. Although you may not find as many active clans or groups as in the past, the matchmaking system works very well for most activities, especially those required for seasonal content. You can easily find players to group with, whether you're a new or returning player. Comparing the game's player base to another looter shooter, Outriders, it's clear that Division 2 is still thriving. Outriders, which was released more recently, has significantly fewer players, and I've personally had troubles finding groups to play with. Just to give you some numbers for perspective, Outriders averages on Steam 380 concurrent players, while Division 2 has 2,700 average over the last 30 days. And we also have to bear in mind that Division 2 was just released in January 2023 on Steam, so all the older players are not on Steam statistics. With Division 2, I've had no issues finding other players to join me on missions or other activities. And even if you're playing on other platforms such as consoles, I'm sure you'll still find a busting community of players ready to team up with you. So, don't let concerns about the player base stop you from jumping back into Division 2. You will always find fellow agents to fight alongside. Gameplay is still very crisp. When it comes to the gameplay of a third-person shooter like the Division 2, there are two key areas to consider: gunplay and movement. Personally, I've always found the gunplay in the Division 2 to be a major selling point. The sensation of firing a gun is extremely satisfying, with each weapon producing its own unique sound that contributes to the overall experience of the game. Different guns require different handling and skills, with some having a higher fire rate and stronger recoil, while others providing a more stable experience but with slightly worse statistics. With a wide variety of guns on offer, players are sure to find at least one weapon type that suits their playstyle. For me, SMGs, shotguns and assault rifles are my go-to choices, with the Vector, FAMAS and Scorpio being my favorite guns in terms of feel and sound. However, recently I've discovered some interesting exotic LMGs that I am looking forward to trying out. How about you? Which guns do you plan to play with? What are your typical go-to weapon types in this type of games? Let us know in the comments down below. Now let's move on to the second area of gameplay, the movement. Traversing the game world feels like a dance. Your character glides effortlessly from one cover to the next like a graceful ballerina on stage. However, movement in the Division 2 isn't perfect, and at times your character will make some wonky and unexpected choices when it comes to taking cover. This can be especially frustrating when playing in a group where other players may inadvertently force your character out of cover. Despite this, the cover-to-cover motion in the Division 2 is generally quite fluid and swift, with smooth animations and non-clunky vaulting over obstacles. Overall, I have to say that the gameplay is my favorite aspect of the game. As someone who usually prefers ARPG titles like Diablo, the Division series is an exception for me due to its extremely well done gameplay. Loot and builds variety. Loot is a major part of any looter shooter, and Division 2 doesn't disappoint in this department. From weapons and gears to mods, there is a staggering amount of loot to discover and collect. What's impressive for me is how diverse and entertaining the loot actually is. Even now, after more than 180 hours in the game, I am still excited for some drops. Many looters fall into a trap of making gear sets, uniques or legendary items so powerful that the entire build consists of only them. In Division 2, on the other hand, you can find builds made primarily from high-end items, which are like rare item types in other looter games. To me, this variety and also countless number of YouTube videos with builds popping up daily are a testament to strength of loot design in Division 2. With so many options available, you can customize your character in countless ways, tailoring your playstyle to suit your preferences. Games in this looter genre live or die thanks to their loot design. One example of a looter game that has been heavily criticized for being scarce in loot drops is Anthem, which we mentioned earlier. See, Anthem was meager with loot. Players did not feel rewarded neither with the quality of the loot nor with the amount of the items dropped. The game had certainly more issues than just the loot, but I believe the loot was the deciding factor when it came to game's immediate death. Division 2 took absolutely different path. The game actually showers you with loot. It's this sense of reward combined with great gameplay that keeps me coming back to Division 2, always eager to see what new treasures I can find. Seasons seem solid. I'm not usually a fan of the Battle Pass model or seasonal content in games, but Division 2 does it right. With the introduction of seasons, the game has added a refreshing change of pace to its already impressive gameplay loop. Seasons last for several weeks and bring new challenges, events and rewards for players to earn. What I appreciate about the seasonal content in Division 2 is that it doesn't feel like a major chore or grind. And unlike Diablo or Path of Exile, in Division 2 I do not have to level my character from the beginning. Going through games campaigns is fine once, maybe twice, but 10 or 11 times? On top of that, the rewards in the Division 2 are worthwhile and the events keep the game fresh and engaging. New gameplay mode to be released. If you are worried about the game running out of content, fear not. It is true that since game's expansion called Worlds of New York, we had no expansions or big content updates. But the developers have recently released a roadmap for Year 5, which includes a brand new game mode called Descent. We don't have all the details yet, but from what we know, this new game mode will be like a roguelite addition to the game with its own progression system added. This just goes to show us that the developers are committed to keeping Division 2 fresh and exciting even after all this time. With new content on the horizon, there's no better time to jump back into the game and see what's new. I, for one, am looking forward to trying out this new game mode and see what other surprises developers have in store for us in the coming months. New player experience is solid. Unlike some other looter shooters, Destiny 2, Division 2 offers a new player experience that's not overshadowed by the removal of their content. See, in Destiny 2, the introduction of sunsetting of content has made it very difficult for new players to understand what's available to them, what's not, and what the hell is actually going on. Division 2, on the other hand, offers a much better and complete experience. This means that new players won't feel left behind and can explore the game at their own pace without worrying about missing out on any content that has been removed. Naturally, 4 years into the game, you may struggle to find party for story missions, but luckily they were designed for players to be able to solo them with just enough amount of effort. With a solid new player experience and plenty of content to explore, Division 2 is a great game for anyone looking to dive into the world of looter shooters. Now, let's shift our attention to the bad part of Division 2 experience. Inventory management can be a chore. One of the downsides of the loot-heavy gameplay of Division 2 is inventory management. With so many items dropping all the time, it can be overwhelming to keep track of everything and decide what to keep and what to discard. And to make matters worse, storage space is quite limited, which means you need to constantly juggle your gear to avoid hitting the cap. Personally, I find this aspect of the game to be one of the most frustrating. It's not uncommon for me to spend a good chunk of time just sorting through my inventory, comparing stats and deciding what to keep and what to deconstruct. And it's not just a matter of deciding which weapons and armor to keep, you also need to manage your mods, which can take up a lot of space as well. I really wish the developers would address this issue by increasing the storage capacity or perhaps by adding some quality of life features to make inventory management even less of a chore. For example, it would be great if they added separate stash space just for the mods, or if they implemented a better system for comparing items so you can quickly decide which one to keep and which one to scrap. One idea I have here is it would be great to perhaps highlight certain items combinations of talents and statistics as the favorite ones that would be highlighted in your inventory or when dropping. All in all, while I love the loot-centric gameplay loop of Division 2, the inventory management aspect can be a real drag at times. If you're the type of player who likes to hoard gear and collect every item you come across, be prepared to spend a lot of time managing your items. Lack of new expansions. While Division's 2 post-launch updates and seasonal content have provided players with plenty of new experiences, the game could benefit from more traditional expansions. Adding new locations, storylines, missions and gameplay mechanics through full-fledged expansions would offer players even more to explore and enjoy. Expansions could also be a way to attract new players to the game. While the current updates do add new content, they may not have the same impact as full expansions have, which tend to generate more excitement among the player base and also attract media attention. By investing in more traditional expansions, the game could potentially draw in a larger player base and provide even more value to its current players. It's unfortunate that this aspect of Division 2 post-launch support has been lacking so far. And now, let's talk about the worst parts of Division 2 experience, the ugly. Lags and crashes. The Division 2 is plagued by frustrating technical issues, with lag being one of the biggest problems. While some areas of the game's main map in Washington and New York tend to be stable, other activities like Summit or Countdown can be literally unplayable. It seems that the issue with lag is at least partially connected to excessive farming glitches that the part of community is abusing, but this issue has been plaguing this game for such a long time that I don't think it's only that. Regardless, excessive lag causes players to teleport and makes it impossible to see your damage or even sometimes fire a weapon. These lags greatly detract from the overall enjoyment of the game. In addition to the lag issues, Division 2 seems to be extremely sensitive to the quality of your internet connection. This sensitivity makes it difficult to maintain a smooth gaming experience if your network is not very stable or solely focused on the game. Even minor activities like watching a YouTube video or my wife having a video call on another computer can cause the game to lag, freeze, and even crash. This level of sensitivity to the network connection is unusual for a game and can be frustrating, especially considering that disconnects can result in losing mission progress in Division 2. It's essential for the developers to address these technical issues, but given how long they have persisted, it's uncertain whether massive entertainment will ever fix them completely. Bugs. While it's true that Division 2 offers a wealth of content, it's important to acknowledge that the game still suffers from a number of bugs and glitches that can detract from the overall experience. Despite numerous updates and patches aimed at fixing these issues, some bugs continue to persist. For example, AI enemies can get stuck in walls or objects, making them invulnerable or impossible to target, while players can also get stuck in the environment. In addition, missions can bug out and prevent progression. I once encountered a mission where rogue agents appeared and they rendered the elevator unclickable, forcing me to restart the entire mission from the beginning. On top of that, I've had issues with one particular mission, the DARPA laboratory. I am being locked out and the mission is unavailable to me, which means I am missing out on potential rewards and future content tied to that mission. While I didn't encounter too many of these bugs in my first 40-50 hours of my current playthrough, they became more abundant in the last 20 hours. These bugs can be incredibly frustrating, and in a game that places such a heavy emphasis on loot and gear, they can be particularly problematic, preventing players from accessing rewards and making progress. While the developers have made efforts to address these issues, there's clearly loads of work to be done here. As you can see, all the worst aspects of Division 2 experience come from technical state of the game or company management and decision making. This is unfortunately not new for Division games. Ever since Division 1 release, players were complaining about the technical side of the title the most. As far as I know, some problems persist since the game's release, which is crazy considering that the game has been out for 4 years now. But if you can deal with potential technical difficulties of the game, Division 2 has a lot to offer. Great gameplay, abundant and varied loot, plenty of builds to try out, an immense amount of content ahead of you. These all aspects overshadowed the technical issues for me and make me still play the game despite occasional frustrations. I highly recommend this game to any of you who enjoy looter games. I think you will have a great time. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. And if you enjoyed this video, please click the like button and subscribe for more content. Your interactions help algorithm notice my content and show it to more people. Thank you for watching, and until the next time.